Remember Wisconsin Judge Hannah Duggan, the radical leftist who helped an illegal immigrant evade ICE? At the time, Democrats told us that it was overreach by the Trump administration. They said that Trump was just trying to scare judges into obedience. But even MSNBC admitted that if the Trump administration was telling the truth, then things don't look good at all for Judge Duggan.
Well, I mean, look, the Justice Department thinks they have a really good position here. Pam Bondi was on television today boasting about this arrest and using language that prosecutors don't tend to use, especially in the pre-indictment phase, not saying allegedly, saying that it happened. And look, I think a lot depends on if the facts are true, as alleged by the FBI agent in the court papers today. It doesn't look great for the judge, no matter how you slice it. But then the other question is, was this kind of escalatory action, was this the best course of action, to actually go and arrest her and take her to court and charge her federally? That's a big step.
Well, surprise, surprise, it appears as if the Trump administration was telling the truth. Newly released security cam footage shows exactly what the Justice Department was claiming, that Judge Duggan distracted ICE, allowing the illegal immigrant to escape.
He meets his attorney in the hallway and walks towards Circuit Court Judge Hannah Duggan's courtroom. Along the way, he passes plainclothes federal agents who are sitting on a bench. They are there to detain him. After Flores Ruiz walks by, the agents turn to each other and appear to confirm his identity amongst themselves. But a few moments later, Judge Duggan and another judge approach the agents sitting on the bench. A criminal complaint against Duggan later said she was alerted to their presence by a court official. That complaint says during this interaction, Duggan and the agents disagreed over the type of warrant they had to arrest Flores Ruiz. According to the complaint, Duggan ordered the agents to go to the chief judge's office. Video shows her pointing them through a double door. She then turns back to speak with other agents further down the hall and orders them through the doors as well. Shortly after that, with the agents gone from the hallway, Eduardo Flores Ruiz and his attorney exit into the hallway through a different door. As they walk down the hall toward the elevators, they pass another plainclothes federal agent neither they nor Judge Duggan seem to have noticed at the time. That agent motions to another to follow Flores Ruiz. Security video shows Flores Ruiz exiting through a basement exit. Upstairs on the 6th floor, the other agents have left the chief judge's office and worked their way downstairs. Flores Ruiz left the building onto 9th Street. Videos of the street shows the agents catching up to him. Flores Ruiz runs across 10th Street while trying to get away, but the agents catch him and arrest him.
Now, it's important to note that that first door is meant exclusively for jurists going in and out of the courtroom. It's not meant for public use. So the fact that they escorted him out of a door meant for the jury, does that not indicate that some funny business was going on? Like, if you had nothing to hide, if you weren't trying to help him evade ICE arrest, then why take the path less traveled? Why go through the restricted door rather than the door meant for everyone else? Also, the fact that they brought him through the basement to leave the building says it all, on top of what we see in the security cam footage. Now, when it comes to cases like this, usually the government likes to hold on to its evidence until the trial, so it's really interesting to me that this footage was released so far in advance, and that leads me to believe two things. Number one, the government must have some other evidence that they think will be a home run for their case, and number two, they're probably trying to fight back against all these judges and the Democrats trying to use the legal system to thwart the Trump administration. I think that they're getting ahead in front of this and saying, no, we do have evidence, we do have a solid case, this is not persecution, this is not trying to scare judges into obedience. Hey, look at what we have. We actually have evidence to back up exactly what we're claiming. Because things get a lot more interesting when you take a look at the specific charges that the DOJ filed against Hannah Duggan. They go far beyond just distracting ICE agents and leading them in the wrong direction. Now, charge number one is exactly that, but number two, take a look at point C. Hannah Duggan wanted to try this criminal case, quote, off the record. Hey, I thought the point of a court of law was to do things on the record and by the book. And then point number E, advising his counsel, the Migrants Council, that he could appear by Zoom. Why could he appear by Zoom? Oh, that's right. So he wouldn't run into ICE. Basically, she was trying to help him avoid ICE by doing the next meeting virtually. But unfortunately for the rest of us, the judge assigned to this case is a far-left radical activist. According to Fox News, federal judge with history of anti-Trump remarks assigned to Hannah Duggan criminal case. Clinton appointee Judge Lynn Edelman faces scrutiny over past criticisms of Trump, Justice Roberts, as he prepares to oversee Milwaukee judge's trial. Now, speaking of Judge Duggan wanting to take a look at EFR's case via Zoom, there are some things that you can't do via Zoom. You have to be in person and you have to be on call 24/7. Well, recently across the Southeast, there have been many tragic tornadoes, and that resulted in 5 people being killed in St. Louis with over 38 injured. It's very tragic. Of course, thoughts and prayers go out to the victims and their families. But part of the reason it was so bad in St. Louis is because the tornado sirens didn't go off. Why didn't they go off? Well, apparently, emergency head Sarah Russell, who goes by they, them pronouns, wasn't in the office. Yeah, she apparently thinks that tornadoes can be scheduled to go through between the working hours of 9 and 5. I think someone needs to tell the party of science how science actually works. Here's her defense of what happened.
The SEMA office is very small, and the majority of the time we work closer to business hours unless the need arises, such as what we're doing now, or special events. A lot of that work takes us out into the community, so we aren't necessarily in our office space at all times. We do have a very small staff. I have received reports of people that did hear it. I've heard from a lot of people that said they haven't heard it.
Sarah, quick question. If the siren didn't go off, then how could people hear the siren? According to CBS News, St. Louis tornado sirens did not sound in deadly storm. Now, a city commissioner has been placed on leave, and that city commissioner, the emergency head, is Sarah Russell. There's just absolutely no excuse for that. I hope she doesn't get her job back. Now, so many of you in the comments have let me know that you're physicians, nurses, emergency workers, EMTs, and all of you know that your job isn't limited to just working hours. Like, you do whatever it takes around the clock to get the job done, and especially when you're in charge of that tornado siren, you have to be on call 24/7, or at least have people on call 24/7 to make sure that you can warn the members of your community and keep everyone safe. Now, obviously, emergencies don't just happen at a local level, they also happen on a national level. And that's why the federal government has many backup plans and contingencies in place to make sure that things keep moving as smoothly as possible. One of those contingencies is the National Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is supposed to be used in times of crisis, like, say, a world war. But Joe Biden decided to use that petroleum reserve to help consumers at the pump. Basically, he wanted to help the Democrats out during the midterms, but he never refilled that reserve. And now the Trump administration has to deal with the fallout.
The Strategic Petroleum Reserve is, it's about 750 million barrels of oil in strategic. This isn't for timing markets or, filling it or unfilling. It's for when a very bad day happens. The world literally runs on oil. If you don't have oil, you're screwed in everything you do, economics, defense, anything, healthcare. And so we created a Strategic Petroleum Reserve for that very rainy day. And in 2022, coming into those midterm elections, the Democrats saw inflation was a problem. Things weren't going well from them. And they drained nearly half of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to make those midterm elections go well for them. Sadly, it did help them. In the short term, they flooded the market with oil, reduced the price of oil in the short term, but at the cost of U.S. strategic positioning. And they damaged the facilities in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve by draining them so fast. So I have a few challenges. We have to spend over $100 million to repair the damage of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve that wasn't built for that. And by design, it's much slower to fill it than to drain it.
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges here. So the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is scattered throughout Texas and Louisiana, so they have to coordinate all of that. Second of all, they have to wrestle with the question, do they buy from domestic producers or from foreign suppliers? If they buy foreign, then they're enriching foreign countries, but if they buy domestic, thanks to the laws of supply and demand, then prices are going to go up nationwide. And by the way, Energy Department policies, they try to buy between $62 and $72 a barrel. So prices obviously aren't there right now, and there are just so many other considerations. But just to put into perspective how bad the Biden administration was, take a look at this article from Bloomberg, that third paragraph there. The Energy Department account to buy oil for stockpiling is down to about $841 million, according to an estimate by the consulting firm Clearview Energy Partners. It would stretch to about 12 million barrels at today's prices. That would be a mere fraction of the 320 million barrel shortfall thanks to the Joe Biden administration. So Thanks, Joe. And the reason I wanted to share this isn't to get everyone's feelings down. If anything, it puts into perspective for me that the Trump administration isn't just trying to achieve its own agenda and its goals to make America great again, but they also have to fix the damage left behind by Joe Biden's administration. So every time I get impatient, I have to think about that. It's not just about moving ahead, it's also repairing the damage that was left behind. In this video, I would like to acknowledge USMC Carr as the member of today's Governor's Club. These are people who have given super thanks or tips to the channel. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad that you enjoy the videos. Now, you've seen all the tough actions that the Trump administration has taken against Harvard, and of course the left is freaking out. They're saying that the Trump administration is trying to bully higher education and Trump is acting like an authoritarian. Well, here's a clip from Joe Biden's Secretary of Education.
And ultimately, if a school refuses to comply with Title VI, yes, we would remove federal dollars.
Yes, Title VI has to do with basically making sure there's no discrimination. So while the Biden administration was all talk, no action, Donald Trump actually follows the rule of law. So the Democrats can scream, wail, gnash teeth all they want, but Donald Trump is actually following through. But as always, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So, Wisconsin Judge Hannah Duggan's case being tried by a Clinton appointee. Do you think there's any hope of a free and fair trial, or do you think the fix is already in? Let me know your predictions down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.